So after a Subway Series, this season goes all to the Mets. We have a reaction here on this Thursday morning on the early line on SportsGrid. From one of the best to do it in the Big Apple, that's John Jastremski, the host of New York, New York on The Ringer and Spotify, covering baseball in the greater New York City area for SNY as well. JJ, we appreciate the time. Thank you for being with us here live on this Thursday on the early line.
Guys, my pleasure. As one-sided as it gets with the Subway Series, full-fledged butt-whooping by the New York Mets. No question about it.
4 games between the Yanks and the Mets this year, 4 victories for the Amazons. 2 first up at the end of June at Citi Field, and then, of course, these past 2 evenings in the Bronx inside Yankee Stadium, including, JJ, yesterday in the 4th and final game this season between these 2 Big Apple foes. 12-3, the victory for the Mets against Garrett Cole and the Yanks. 5 home runs launched by the Amazons yesterday, 2 off the bat of Francisco Lindor. What worked so well for the Mets last night, and I guess you could say all season long against the Pinstripes?
Listen, their lineup, it's deep, top to bottom. And I think we've seen that kind of transformation within the Mets. The minute they put Francisco Lindor in the leadoff spot, they put Brandon Nimmo in the 2 spot, they found some answers at the bottom of the order. You just compare and contrast what the Mets are able to do from an offensive standpoint up and down their lineup, and look at the Yankee lineup where Luis Severino is looking like Nostradamus, basically proclaiming all you got is 2 guys in the lineup. I don't know who's going to argue and who's going to fight with Luis Severino on that take, because that's exactly what the Yankees do have. It's 2 guys in the lineup, and everybody else flat out stinks. So I think in these 4 games, and you saw the way the Mets pounded Garrett Cole, really disappointed in Cole last night. I thought he'd give you a big effort. I thought he'd avenge that last terrible start he had against the Mets. You could argue he's even worse in this game that he pitched Wednesday night at Yankee Stadium. But just the overall top to bottom lineup depth that you see from the Mets, it's there, and it's clearly not with the Yankees.
John, if we look from a Yankees perspective, you tweeted out last night, 11-23 since Father's Day weekend, unwatchable, pathetic baseball in the Bronx. How did we get to this point? Everything was looking so good for so long.
That's a great point, and I think it's a variety of different things. You look at their lineup, guys who were producing early in the year stopped producing. Anthony Volpe, now he's been better since the All-Star break, but his numbers went in the tank. Alex Verdugo. Remember Alex Verdugo hit that big home run in Boston? Mm-hmm. He's flexing around the bases. I think maybe he has 5 hits since that particular point in time. Gleyber Torres, who you see right there, really hasn't gotten going all year, and the Yankees are missing Stanton. So I think all of those elements are in play within their lineup. Their bullpen is not particularly deep. It doesn't have guys that get and produce swing and miss stuff, but the rotation the first 2 months of the year, when the Yankees were firing on all cylinders, was phenomenal. Every guy was pitching great. There was inevitable regression. And I think the thought was going to be, hey, some of these other guys are going to regress a little bit, but you're going to get Garrett Cole back. And all of a sudden, Garrett Cole is going to counter that. So lineup not producing, bullpen not having swing and miss, and a rotation that has just gone completely in the tank. That's how you have a record that's resembling the likes of the Anaheim Angels and the Chicago White Sox over the last 45 games.
8-16 for the New York Yankees since before the start of the first Subway set in Queens at the end of June. JJ, when you look at this series, the 4 games that were played this year between the Yanks and the Mets, because it is the inner city rivalry, because these two clubs are often compared here in the greater New York City area, does the season sweep for the Mets add on an additional level of significance because it was against the Yankees on both sides?
I think it's bragging rights. You're going into work on whatever it is, Thursday, and you're a Met fan, you can pound your chest a little bit. If you're a Yankee fan, you got to kind of put the tail between the legs. That's the beauty of the Subway Series. I think as far as the overall significance, look, the Mets need every game imaginable. You know, the Mets are in this tightly congested National League wildcard race, and these are big games for them because every game, quite frankly, is a big game for them. And for the Yankees, all of a sudden now, they're, a game and a half back of the Orioles. They're lucky it's not worse because the Orioles have not played particularly great over the last month to 6 weeks. But their wild card position has gotten a little bit more tenuous as you see teams in the Central making moves. The Astros have made their move. So I think, Ben, more so is that element. For the teams, these games mean a lot. The bragging rights, hey, that's par for the course. You live in New York City.
It's always going to be entertainment watching these two teams go after, but also it's interesting to see like the sort of the collision of their season. The Yankees sort of falling off a bit here, but the Mets making a resurgence here. We call them the Grimace Mets since now they unveil Grimace, 25-11 since June the 12th. Similar to what we talked about with the Yankees, like what's going wrong with them? What's actually going right for the Mets? How are they finding their footing now?
They're scoring runs. They score runs on a consistent basis, guys. You just saw that graphic you guys put up a few minutes ago. You're scoring 5.5 to 6 runs a game.
Yeah.
You're going to be in a whole lot of baseball games. And I think the Mets have their flaws. I think their rotation has kind of been, patchwork all year, and they figured out ways to make it work. I think their bullpen has some serious issues. Edwin Diaz has not found the form that he had 2 years ago when he was the best closer in all baseball. But listen, I think the Mets easily looked the part of a team that's playoff worthy. Now, this stuff changes in baseball. You're going to ride the roller coaster a ton over the next few weeks, and the Mets have a big series starting tonight against the Atlanta Braves as far as that National League wild card race is concerned. But I think they look the part of a playoff team. I really do. I think I've seen enough now from the Mets, who had that Vegas number at 81.5, 80.5, give or take at the beginning of the year. I think they're going to go over that. I think they're going to have a winning record. And guys, when it's all said and done, I think they find their way in the playoffs. I do.
Yeah, back in the middle of June, it was a plus 500 price for the Mets to see the postseason. Now it's minus 102 with New York in the second of 3 National League wildcard spots as of this moment after the Subway Series sweep. However, it's a very competitive race for those final 2 spots in the NL wildcard. JJ, back to the New York Yankees. Despite the struggles here in the last month, the Yanks remain the favorites to win the American League from the odds perspective. Plus 250, half a dollar in front of the Baltimore Orioles. In your estimation, in your mind, are the Yankees still the team to beat when all is said and done in the AL?
Absolutely not. And I don't want to disrespect our odds makers in any way. They know a lot more than I do, and they have their formulas and their algorithms or whatever. How can you watch the Yankees and sit there and tell me they're the favorites in the American League? They got 2 guys that hit in the lineup. They got 10 zillion questions. Baltimore is younger, more dynamic. And, oh, by the way, they have more prospect collateral to go and trade here at the deadline. Yankees go and match up with the Astros. How are you going to sit there and tell me that the Yankees are going to go and beat the Astros when they never beat the Astros when it counts? I think you're getting a Yankee tax at this particular point in time, because of the brand and because of the uniform and because of the fact that you're going to have a lot of Joe Public folks going to bet the Yankees. Respect the odds makers. I think they're certifiably insane for pricing the Yankees as the number 1 favorites in the American League. I'm sorry.
Yep. John Jastremski, I would have to agree with you. The Astros moving up the board, now the 3rd best number at 6-1. 5 days until the MLB trade deadline this upcoming Tuesday on July 30th to make some maneuvers all around the bigs. John Jastremski, the host of New York, New York, with The Ringer and Spotify, joining us here on Thursday on The Early Line. JJ, we appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You got it, guys. Anytime. Thank you.